Recently I got asked in the comments of YouTube by one of you if I could do a video where I explain which lenses I actually use and maybe even more importantly for what I use them. So as a preparation for this video, I reduced the number of pictures from the last 2.5 years to the, let's say, best 1300. Not all of them are super amazing, of course, with this large quantity, but these are just the images that I edited and I published in one way or another, either on Instagram for sending for friends or including them in a YouTube video. And the vast majority, more than 95% of the images were taken with one of these 4 lenses. And in this video I want to talk about each lens, the strengths, weaknesses, for what kind of image idea or for which subjects I use it. And these are all L lenses from Canon, so not the cheapest lenses, and therefore I also want to mention a bit what kind of alternatives there exist and what I could maybe recommend. I linked all of the lenses down below in case you are interested, and if you buy over this link you would support my channel without paying anything more. I included links for worldwide shipping or for within Europe. As you can also see, these are all Canon lenses because I primarily shoot with Canon. I sometimes, or very often actually, borrow equipment from Nikon, Sony, OM System and so on for different tests and YouTube videos, but I didn't include them here in the basically in this video, in this comparison, because often I just get one lens with the camera, so it's not really so much of a choice that I have there. That's why I stick to Canon, but I think you can basically transfer many of the things that I say to the system that you own. So let's start with the lens on the left here, and that's the Canon RF 14 to 35mm f4 lens, and I use this mainly for landscape photography. It has a great sharpness. I don't need more than f4 for landscapes. Usually I also stop down more actually, and it's very compact and lightweight, and that's the reason I bought this lens, and I really like it. The image stabilization is also very nice, because sometimes I'm not the biggest fan of tripods. Usually for landscape shots I take a tripod, but if there is cool things happening I try to move around quickly, and then I can also easily handhold like 1/3 of a second with this lens, which is really cool. If you're looking for something a bit less expensive, one alternative would be to buy a used Canon EF 16 to 35mm lens. I had this before. It's a bit heavier, a bit larger, not as sharp in the corners of the image, but still a very good lens, and you can get it for much less money. Alternatively, if you want something with a newer mount, you could get the Canon RF 15 to 30mm f4.5 to 6.3. It's not an L lens, but apparently still very good. I unfortunately didn't have the chance to try it yet, but I read many good things about it. I took around 6% of my images with that one. If we move to the next bigger one, I actually took less images with this lens, only 2%, but I really like the results that I got with this monster here. It's the Canon RF 28 to 70mm lens, and it's an f2 lens. And I use this not for landscapes because the filter and diameter is a bit a nightmare. I use it mainly for wildlife. For wildlife that I can get quite close. To precise it a bit, for example, at the songbird feeder, where I put some seeds in the winter and several tits, nutcrackers or even squirrels are coming, I can take some nice pictures showing a bit more of the environment. Or if I go hiking and I try to take pictures from ibex, they are also sometimes not that shy, so I can take some nice pictures here, include more of the environment, and still have the background quite blurry, because in a wide angle and also like normal range, so let's say up to 60mm of focal length, it's with an f4 lens, it's very hard to get really a smooth background, and that's why I bought this lens and why I use it. It doesn't have an image stabilizer, however, since the animals are usually moving, that's not a big deal for me, and I feel that with the newer cameras such as the R5 II, R6 III or the R1, the IBIS of the camera is actually doing a really good job, especially in the rather wide angle area, to reduce the image shake, so this was not much of an issue for me. The biggest downside I see, well, apart from the price, is that it's a rather heavy and large lens. So one good alternative could be a 28 to 70mm f2.8 lens. It's not an L lens, but supposed to have very good image quality as well, and it's much more lightweight and also much cheaper. If we move to the next lens, we have the Canon RF 100 to 300 mm 2.8 LIS lens. This is a much more expensive lens. I will put the US price on top here, but in Switzerland I paid around 10,000 Swiss francs for that one. But I need to say I absolutely love this lens. It's ideal for me for situations when I want to show a bit more of the environment, similar as with the 28 to 70, but either I cannot get as close to the animal as that I could use the 28 to 70, or if I want to still have a bit more of this telephoto look, so still a bit more a compressed image, I still want to show a bit of the background, but not too much. And for this, it's really amazing. I use it all the time when I'm in the mountains. When I usually go hiking in the mountains with the tent and everything, I only take two lenses in 95% of the chances, and that's the 28 to 70 and the 100 to 300. The 100 to 300, you can also combine it with tele-extenders, both the 1.4 and 2 times extenders. However, I feel with 2 times extender, you really see a drop in the image quality. However, if I use it on the R1, the drop is not too bad. Apart from that, there is some other few downsides. It's obviously quite large and heavy, and as I mentioned, not very cheap. But for me, yeah, I really like the lens. One other situation when I like to use this lens is just if I can get quite close to the birds, but it's dark. I had this in the rainforest in Australia several times, or if I was trying to photograph songbirds in a local forest and sometimes the songbirds were starting to fight with each other, I was very happy to have this aperture 2.8, and it was also nice to have the flexibility of a zoom that if I can zoom into 300 millimeters if there's one bird, and if suddenly two birds are fighting, I can zoom out to 150 or 200 and still manage to get both of them in the picture. Overall, I took around 38% of my images from the last 2.5 years with this lens. If you want something a bit cheaper, lightweight, smaller, one option would be to get a 70 to 200 millimeters f2.8, which has the advantage that in the lower end you actually have a bit more. Well, you can go wider if the animal really gets closer or you want to include more of the environment. But on the long end, you're more limited. You can put a 1.4 extender, at least on the new 70 to 200 millimeter from Canon, which is this one here. It exists in black and white, but here you can put a 1.4 extender, so you get up to 280 millimeter f4. Yeah, there is also an even smaller version of that one, the 70 to 200 millimeter f2.8, that is an external zoom, but there you cannot use tele-extenders, so I think in most situations I would prefer this one. Finally, here is my big 600 millimeter f4 prime. It's by far the most used lens. I took a bit more than 50% of my images with that lens, and I really like the look of this lens. I mean, you get an absolute clean background, beautiful bokeh. It's very sharp. It takes the 1.4 extender without me noticing anything in the image quality, to be honest. And even with a 2 times extender, it usually works very well. I just want to put a word of caution out here about the 2 times extender. If you put this on a lens like this, you get 1200 millimeters, and if you try to shoot or take pictures of a deer that is on the other side of the valley, there is a lot of air in between you and the animal, and probably you will not get good image quality just because of the air between you and the subject. This has nothing to do with the lens. So yeah, I'm very happy with this one. It focuses quick, the image stabilizer is good. I managed to take sharp pictures at 1/8 of a second handheld. So yeah, really happy with this lens. I just wish it would be a bit smaller because it's a bit hard sometimes to get this in a backpack with the camera attached to it. Here it's a bit hard to find an alternative that is cheaper and still provides something similar in terms of the image look. I mean, there is one obvious answer, which is the EF 600mm f4 of the second generation. I owned this previously. You can still get it used, so you can find some good deals. The problem is just it's around 800 grams heavier, and the image stabilizer and autofocus are not as good as this lens, but in terms of image quality, it's actually even slightly outperforming the RF version. If you want to be really picky, I would say in reality there is no difference. Otherwise, you could look into a zoom lens such as the 100 to 500 or the 200 to 800 from Canon, but obviously there you make some trade-offs with the aperture, with the maximum aperture that you can use, and therefore both with the low light performance and also with the background rendition. So as mentioned before, from these 1300 images that I selected to get the numbers of how often I used which lens, the 600mm f4 was used most often. However, if I would need to reduce it to 50 images, then I think it would look quite differently, and probably the 100 to 300 would be the most used lens, because I like that I can include more of the environment with that lens here. But because especially in Central Europe, many birds are quite shy, I just happen to use the 600mm f4 more because I need this focal length. If I could only own two lenses, I think I would pick the 28 to 70 f2 and the 100 to 300 2.8, of course with the 1.4 and 2 times tele-extenders, and with this I think I can cover a lot of things. I hope the video was helpful for you, it gave you some insights. As mentioned, I linked all of the lenses and also the alternatives that I mentioned below. You would just support my channel with that. And if you want to learn how you can get more out of your current lenses and cameras, then please check out my ebooks. I have one about bird photography in general, about different approaches, how to get closer to the animal, how you can get a different background and so on. And then I have two more technical ebooks, one dealing with the autofocus system for Nikon and one with the autofocus system for Canon cameras.